Good morning. Welcome to BlackUSA.News Morning Show. My name's Donnie. Last name's Glover, and this is the Donnie Glover Show. It is a little brisky outside today here in Baltimore. Let's cut that down. But nonetheless, we're here and we're grateful for another day in the land of the living. STEM City, USA. STEM City, USA. STEM City, USA in the metaverse. I think we're going to have to make up a jingle about that because that's where we are with progress. If you don't know what the metaverse is, or you just stay tuned, we're going to teach you about the metaverse, about crypto, and anything and everything else we can to help empower you. A lot's been happening. We have a Black Wall Street ceremony planned for Wednesday, February 23rd. I'm particularly excited about this one. Not only is it Black History, our Black History edition, I'm particularly pleased because my daughter, who's been an entrepreneur for 5 years, she's 21, will celebrate her 21st birthday. So we're going to have a little cake and ice cream. Knowing her, we'll probably get some seafood too. But I hope you're doing well out there. Hope you're staying busy. Hope you're keeping your mental straight, keeping your peace of mind. Don't let anybody break your peace of mind. It's priceless. Healthy thoughts. Think positive. Speak life. You ever know people that just, they speak about the negative? I was with, I went to a meeting last night in the middle of the show, actually, doing a little remote broadcasting. And this gentleman and I got into a discussion, and he said that young people don't read textbooks. I said, if you think young people don't read textbooks, then they don't read textbooks. But if you think they do read textbooks, then they do read textbooks. If you tell somebody they can't read, they can't do this, they can't do that, and I started to believe in it, then whose fault is that? That's really on me. Don't let anyone think for you. Think for yourself. Don't let anyone tell you what you can or cannot accomplish, particularly if they don't have your best interest at heart anyway. Personally, I love it when they tell me what I can't do. I find it to be motivating and inspiring because I know what I can accomplish. I can accomplish a whole lot, especially if I cut the phone off. So check on my early guests. Bear with me just a moment. Guess they may be having technical challenges. That's the one thing about this whole streaming platform. It's like the apex or the nexus, the bringing together of various technologies, from computers to cell phones. There we go. All the way from the West Coast. It's bright and early, folks. Let me tell you, this is a special request here. Early in the morning, the birds are still chirping. West Coast.
Birds are not chirping here yet. Clearly, the hamster's not on its wheel either. So sorry for being late here.
It's all good. How you doing?
All right. Like I said, it's definitely early, but happy to join you and your audience here. How's everything on the East Coast?
Good. We're ready to get into it. I got some questions for you. First of all, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, happy to. My name's Kamal Hubbard. I'm the host of BlackUSA Crypto News here on BlackUSA News. Come to you guys every Friday. Really just breaking down everything that's going on in the week, hitting up the top stories. And you know what? Now, there was a time when there was so little crypto news out there. And now you're seeing it everywhere. You're seeing it on Forbes, Bloomberg. They have a really big crypto and blockchain coverage, USA Today. So now every major outlet has some degree of blockchain and cryptocurrency coverage, and everyone's even more confused. So what I try to do is pick out some of the more important stories and get a sense of, give some context to it. I mean, and even still, I just try and read these stories out and give my opinion, which I think is also good because, hey, not everyone has a chance to come across these stories, read these stories, so they can have this in the background while they're cooking, their Sunday meal or weekend meal. Definitely don't drive and listen or watch. You can listen while you drive, but like I said, I'm just trying to break down some of the more important stories every week.
So Kamal, how long have you been, and what do you call you people? What do you call crypto, blockchain, Bitcoin people? Are you bitter?
No, you know what? It's interesting because, I've been at this for a while. I've never really given myself a title, but
all right, well, we
actually,
can do it right now. Come on, let's name you guys.
I was going to say, so there's a certain breed, me being an author of a book called DeFi for the Diaspora, which is a book about blockchain for Black people around the world. I've actually joined up with a group called Crypt Activists. So we're trying.
Now, hold. Then you out there in California, you got Bloods and Crips, right?
Right. And that's why I was like, hey,
I don't want no smoke. I don't want no smoke.
That's so I initially said, hey, can we just say crypto activists? But this is the group that I'm with, and it's no colors, no reds and blues, but it's definitely, we're focused on Black and putting Black first when it comes to blockchain.
Keeping Black first. Now, what does that mean?
Well, so our message, actually, in this week, I'm going to be talking about this for Black History Month. We have a Black History Month NFT offering from Black artists that are going to support a school for orphans and kids in need in Nairobi, Kenya. It was the biggest, we collaborated to have the biggest bulk book buy for me that was international. Once again, going to Kenya. What was that?
How many books did you sell?
Well, I sold books in various formats. So I sold 10 books that were physical. I recently released an audio book version, or an audio version of my book, as well as ebooks. So, it was modest. It was certainly in the healthy hundreds of dollars, but like I said, this is going to kids in need at the Moonlight Center in Nairobi, Kenya. And so my books are going to be in their library. The teachers are going to be getting their books. So the teachers will understand how, when kids ask them questions about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency and digital assets, the teachers have some frame of reference and can be knowledgeable about this. But then some of the NFTs that are going to be sold this month, as well as apparel and other donations, are helping some of the young women get the things that they need to be comfortable in class, like the sanitary towels and things like that. So, and like I said, a lot of these kids are orphans, and like they don't get a chance to really go to school. They got to focus on working and taking care of themselves. So this is what the Moonlight Center does, and I'm happy to work with them.
When I was in Tanzania, I learned that where we have public school, our tax dollars pay such that any young person, for instance, in the state of Maryland, is due a public education, an adequate education. I mean, they play with that word. In Africa, in the Caribbean, and that's about as far as I've been, Africa, Middle East, Caribbean. But there are countries that if you don't pay, if you don't have $60 a year, $100 a year, your child does not go to school. So there are places where some young people do not get a public education. I got to deviate. Last night, this gentleman told me, he said he had been incarcerated for 31 years. And he was telling me about, he said essentially that our young people cannot read textbooks, that the young people he encountered in prisons don't read textbooks. And what I said to him was that when I look at these young men hitting them wheelies, coming up Pennsylvania Avenue with one hand in the middle of traffic, when I look at the TikTok demonstrations and the social media, we study what we want to study. I believe that if you say I can't read, then you can't read. But if you say I can read, I can read. And then I gave him this brief example, because I love it when people tell me what our people can't do and how our children can't read. I'm reminded in this Black History Month that our ancestors learned to read by candlelight, where learning to read and write was punishable by death. And so when people give me the excuses about why our young people aren't prospering, what I hit them with it starts at home. It starts with your mother and your father. And he was talking about sending young people off to school and how a wise man doesn't let his enemy educate his children. I'm all for that. Knock yourself out. But education, the tone for that starts at home. And I think we give a lot of excuses, Kamal, because granted, you were blessed. I was blessed. I had parents. They loved education. My father was spot check. But damn if I didn't go to school right beside kids whose parents didn't do that. And the parents, or the lack of parenting, made all the difference in the world. Can't touch that.
I definitely wanted to give you an opportunity to finish there, and you're right. You know, I'm definitely blessed, and so I have even more of a responsibility, in my opinion, to give back. Some people don't feel like they have that responsibility, and that's fine, but I do because this is what the Lord's told me to do. When it's all said and done, and we're in an interesting time, right? Where information is so accessible. Some people sometimes might take it for granted. They might take it for granted. Oh, it's always going to be there. My phone is always in my pocket. All I have to do is reach it, grab it, Google something when I need to know it. So, and unfortunately, there's levels to it, right? There's more to it than that. But at the same time, too, education, we have some of the most educated people in our community, but due to the financial system, people have degrees, but they're in deep debt, and that deep debt is basically not going away. So, and people see that as well. Like,
I will. That's one thing I agree, that if education puts you in the debt, then you probably want to figure out a better way. But this is something else, Kamal. I'm seeing people, and I'm 56. I've watched people wait till they get to their freshman year of college and decide to get serious. When you're going to school, you're going to college with people who have been focused on that since they were 5 years old. They knew at 5 years old, 6 years old, 7 years old, I'm going to college. It's your thinking. And
It
it's never
is.
too late. When I went back to school, there was a lady in my piano class who was 75 years old, Miss Regina, and she reminded me, you're never too old. But I don't like excuses. I don't like excuses because I see the effort we put into, for instance, selling dope on a corner. I look at how often we show up, how serious we are to be there to do that every day. They're getting killed over here, no problem. I'm focused on hustling. Yesterday, a guy just got killed around the corner. I'm focused on hustling. Anyway, I want to try my hand. You've been my mentor. People don't know this, but you're the one who dragged me into this whole crypto universe. But there's a
It's
young
never
man
ending, right?
There's your boy Chap. Good morning, Chap. So I want to handle this. Can I answer this question?
Yep, sure. Feel free.
What is the difference, Michael Randolph, between blockchain and NFT? To my understanding, according to my training from this guy here, no, that guy. Blockchain is a form of financing.
Well, so blockchain is a technology.
A technology?
Right. So in the best way to think about it is a database, right? So it's a software, not a hardware, right? And this software operates like a ledger, so like in books, in accounting, and in each block there is data of really, when we're talking about cryptocurrencies, when we're talking about NFTs, we're talking about also transactions as well. So in each of those blocks, it's saying things like Kamal sent so much cryptocurrency to Doni on a certain day at a certain time, right? And that data gets blocked together in a sequential order. So there will be a block 1, a block 2, block 3. And so much data can fit into a block. Now, that technology powers cryptocurrency and it powers NFTs as well as things like DeFi and soon to be the metaverse too. Well, already, I guess we're there.
Now, for the NFT, that's a non-fungible token. NFTs in reality are coins or objects with some unique art form or relationship, quite often to an artist, to an author, to a product, or something like the Doge coin. Or is it Doge Junior? What's the new one?
Don't get me started on that. But Dogecoin is actually a fungible asset. So there are more than one. There's actually millions of Dogecoin. So when we're talking about non-fungible tokens, if we just break things down, what is fungibility, right? Fungibility is the ability to exchange many things, right? So if I have a cart of apples, right, and I go to an apple market, I can sell my apples, and all these apples are fungible, right? And we say a non-fungible, something that is not fungible. Let's just say at the bottom of that apple or basket of apples that I have, there's a golden apple. That apple is unique to all the apples that I'm selling. There's only one golden apple in that basket, whereas there's 40 other red apples, right? So the non-fungible one is a one-to-one. It's a very rare type of token, essentially. So non-fungible tokens are meant to be collectibles. And really, when it comes down to it, I mean, for the most part right now, all NFTs are essentially JPEGs. And they are put on a blockchain. So what this establishes is what's called providence, right? An owner can have rights in saying, hey, I was the first to create this piece of electronic art, and I can pinpoint it on the blockchain as me being the first one to have created it.
Are Black people involved in crypto?
Yeah. I mean, depends on who you ask. Some people say, hey, we're overrepresented, which I don't quite believe. But some people say we're underrepresented. I personally think we're underrepresented. And it's really my aim through my book is for us to create a parallel economy using blockchain.
I guess that's an unfair question, because for those who haven't traveled, they may not realize that there are a billion Africans.
Oh, sure, yeah.
We often know there are 1.1 billion Chinese, 1.3 billion people in between India, Bangladesh, and Pakistan. But Africa's got a billion people too. Here in this country, they say we're 15%. America's always cheating. So say we're 20% of this country. So we're not a minority worldwide.
No, absolutely not. However, when it comes to Black people around the world not getting an equitable opportunity into the financial system, that's the biggest thing. We're not getting an equitable stake in global finance, and once again, that's why I'm pushing this message that we need to embrace blockchain, Web 3.0, and all of these. And Africa is actually really well positioned because of their ability to really just leap in front of all of us and sidestep the entire legacy financial system and go straight into crypto.
Because of the natural resources in the land there?
Well, I mean, there's that too. They need to get greater access to those resources so that the people can have more wealth, and not just former colonial powers, neo-colonial powers, and the few having.
Well, now you got neo-colonial.
Yeah, so China, we'll just say, they're coming in and they might not be colonializing through political means, but they're definitely doing it through finance and infrastructure projects. So, in a lot of ways, it does help a lot of Africans. But when there are certain Chinese enclaves in Africa where Africans can't go, I think, once again, this is how.
Are you serious?
Yeah, look it up. I wish I could.
We reported a story about South Africa.
Yeah.
And it's very disturbing to see the South Africans give up their land for money. It's watching your brother give away his birthright.
Yeah, it's really tough. I've been to South Africa. I love the people there, but the thing that I had really the most difficulty with is, when I was on the bus, basically seeing a kid with a shirt but no pants, no shoes. Just, I mean, they're running around. They're happy with that situation, maybe because they don't know any different, and that's the norm. But
there's a song that says you can't miss what you never had.
Right. And I'm like, just the level of poverty.
I don't accept that. I certainly want, done a lot of scholarly work on Africa. You mentioned South Africa. In grad school, I was focused on Botswana, located just to the north of South Africa. Everybody associates De Beers, the diamonds, the gold with South Africa, but Botswana actually has one of the largest diamond reserves in the world. Democratically stable, economically viable Botswana.
Yeah, and there are the countries that we don't talk about that are doing great, that are thriving, and that we don't see out here.
Well, and that's the significance of this network here, so that we can discuss the world from our own perspective, not slamming or slighting anyone else. But we have a lot to be proud of. We have a lot to learn about our own legacy, our own lineage, and let alone, the relationship. And that's what my book on Botswana was about, my thesis about economic cooperation between Africans and African Americans. I mean, that's DeFi for the diaspora, right?
Yeah, your book was a precursor to my book. and so we're actually doing this now. Like I said, we're helping kids out in Kenya, and I want to continue to do this in other parts of the continent and parts of South America, like Brazil, where there's also a Black majority in a lot of places that
they got 100 million Africans there in Brazil. So look, this comment here comes from Career Communications Group. So I want to bring you into the fold as we speak, Mr. Kamal Hubbard, because we were literally talking about you just last night. We want to get more of us into this blockchain crypto world, and we've picked up a sponsor, a partner. He's always been there, Dr. Tyrone Taborn, and he wants me to say, every chance I get, STEM City USA Metaverse. This is the new platform. It involves the Oculus goggles.
Okay.
Before meeting you, before, getting into this crypto stuff, I'd never heard of no metaverse. I was watching Facebook. I saw, but Facebook did not create the metaverse, number one. The metaverse is the new world of virtual reality. Now Facebook has made certainly a leap into that world, but it's not like they own it or invented it. But they are the ones taking full advantage of it, correct?
Yeah. But here's the thing, like you said, they don't own it. And there are a lot of metaverses out there that are going to be decentralized, and they're going to do all the things that Facebook wants to do with being less restrictive. And actually, we know what Facebook does. They take your data, they sell your data, right? That's how they make their money. But with decentralized metaverses, what's going to happen is you're going to have other cryptocurrencies in there. And in some instances, you can get paid for your data and your interactions, which will be very interesting and very inclusive as well. So
Facebook is not going to like that, because if they have been making money off of our information, and now they are no longer making money off of our information, and this is the Wild Wild West, so there are no rules, right?
There are rules, but we're going to see more regulation for sure.
Did we know that Facebook was selling our data when we signed up for a Facebook account?
They would say that it's in their terms of service.
Right. But okay.
They don't explicitly say that. You got to go through the 50 pages of their terms of service and look at the fine print on line 253. And it doesn't say we're selling your data. It's worded differently.
What any billionaire with incredible lawyers and endless money would do. But what I think I'm hearing you say is that the world of crypto puts them more on an even playing field, takes away their advantage. They're not the only bully on the block.
Right. So, once again,
if bully is the proper term for them.
Yeah, and we're just using Facebook as an example. I don't think we're necessarily, negatively criticizing them, but what's going to happen, right?
Big dog.
And
Certainly the big dog.
yeah, and they're the
But
easiest
Google is the
example
bigger.
to make.
Google is the bigger dog too, right?
Yeah, and Google is out there too. They a couple weeks ago said that they're going to be doing stuff in blockchain. Like their CEO said they're going to be doing stuff in blockchain. They've already had a blockchain research group for years, but this is coming from the top. The CEO has been hinting at blockchain. So Google's going to make their play very soon. But Facebook actually also years ago created a cryptocurrency that would be native to Facebook. And they tried to go the congressional route, and Congress actually slammed it. Why? Because Facebook has billions of users. They could essentially create their own monetary system. People could be in that system and never, or well, not never, but very rarely need to use US dollars then, right? Because what they were going to do is create their a whole gig economy inside of Facebook. So, hey, Donnie, I need a ride to the airport. Can you pick me up? Right? So they're getting Uber out of the way. Hey, Donnie, not that I would ask you to do this, but can you go to McDonald's for me and do a DoorDash for me? Right? You get Uber Eats, DoorDash.
I'm gonna take you to the Jamaican restaurant down the street. There, bring you some jerk chicken.
Exactly, because I don't have time to get in my car because I'm in the metaverse, right? Doing work, meeting my friends, hanging out. I don't have time to do that. So can you do it for me? And I'm going to use this Facebook cryptocurrency because I'm in Facebook's metaverse. Why do you need a dollar at that point? Why do you need a dollar at that point? And that's what Facebook was doing.
So they would have been a monopoly.
Yes. Well, yes and no. But
they'd have been close to a monopoly.
They would absolutely. They would monopolize your time. They would absolutely monopolize your time. They're monopolizing your labor at that point, right? And they're monopolizing your money. And they're making money, once again, off your data and all your interactions. So they want to lock you in. That's the thing. And this is not... Think of it as the book of faces, right? Your face is on there. They're using it to see what you're looking at, what you're doing, who you're associated with. If a crime is ever to happen, they go to your Facebook, see who you're connected to, what you look like, and they got you, right? Some people, this is why it's not recommended to do crime in the first place, but definitely don't do crime on Facebook. It's going right to the authorities.
Ronnie Griffin suggests this would be the new world government.
I do get that a lot. And so taking Facebook out of it, right? Let's just go back to the cryptocurrency thing. Governments are creating their own cryptocurrencies, which are called CBDCs.
Oh, this is a new term. You have not dropped this on me in my tutoring classes.
I haven't dropped it on you, but I've talked about this on my show dozens of times. CBDCs are central bank digital currencies. So China actually wanted to roll out a digital yuan during the Olympics.
CBDC.
Right?
What's it stand for again?
So not CBD, not CBD, CBDCs.
Yeah, CBDC.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm just messing around with you. But CBDCs,
central I know it's bank. Not the weed.
Yeah. Well, it's easy to get confused, right? It's only one letter off, but a central bank digital currency. So
slow down.
I know I talk fast and people think, oh, CBD, that's what he's smoking. Okay, whatever.
Central bank digital currency. Central bank digital currency. Okay, what's that?
So we have a central bank called the Federal Reserve.
In America.
Fed. Yes, that's what we have. And the Fed creates money. They create a monetary system. And what people were saying is, especially during COVID, that our Federal Reserve is printing all this money. And this is what has led to the issue with inflation, right? They've been printing money through what's called a process called quantitative easing, where it just allows them to introduce new dollars into the monetary system. So we needed all this economic stimulus. The Fed is printing all this money. But at the same time, too, now we're looking at this world where things are going to be more digital. Once again, people are staying home. Things are going to be more remote because of this pandemic. Everything, or not everything, but a lot of payments are going to be digital. Excuse me. So now these central banks are creating instead of having paper money, they're creating digital money. And so when the next possible stimulus event needs to take place, instead of mailing checks to people, right, which was placed a burden on the U.S. postal system, you'll have a digital wallet and the Federal Reserve will send you $3,000 for economic stimulus. But they can put stipulations on that and say, hey, don't buy Bitcoin with this. One. Two, they can say, hey, you better spend this money in 3 months to stimulate the economy, or else it will disappear. So you can't sit there and save it either. They're most likely going to say, hey, you can't buy other cryptocurrency. I mean, and once again, since it's on a ledger, they can see who does what with that money.
So this is straight from the top. This is so we're creating on STEM City. Are you ready? This is from the boss's desk. We're going to create digital money. Are you ready for the name of it? Bella Dollars Blockchain.
Okay, there you go. I like it. Who's Bella?
I don't know. I know
Doesn't
Bella,
matter.
the Spanish word for what? Pretty, beautiful, gorgeous.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me. Gorgeous, money. Works well for me.
So here's the thing, right? A lot of people, when I wrote DeFi for the diaspora, people said, well, you're going to do, at some point, I'm sure I'm going to do my own DeFi project, but I don't need to. We should have multiple currencies out there. Currencies that help us operate on a local level, on a state and regional level, and obviously an international level. We're going to use different currencies for different things. And but
this
regardless,
is Kamal's book right here, folks. This is Kamal's book on the ticker now. DeFi for the diaspora. For those who don't know, Kamal hosts a show every Friday night right here on BlackUSA News. His show is Black Crypto News. And I don't even know how we met, Kamal, but I know we're not going to let you go.
Well, there's something else too. I want to put a call to action to folks for. I'm working with the DeFi Education Funds. And so if you know any Black focused nonprofits, schools, or policymakers and officials who need to understand this information more, we've teamed up to make sure that this message gets out easier. So if you want me to speak at your school, if you guys want to operate and do bulk book buys, so STEM City USA, love to do something with the bulk book buy with you guys. Or if you would like me to speak and spread this message to kids or teachers or lawmakers, be sure to reach out to me. This is my calendar is definitely getting booked very quickly here. There's a lot of different places I'm going to go. Be sure to keep an eye on my show. I'm going to be announcing all this stuff. but there's a lot of good stuff that's going to be going on. And the only place you could catch it is on BlackUSA News, BlackUSA Crypto News.
Dr. Taborn's whole STEM City. So have you seen STEMCityUSA.com yet?
No, not yet.
This show
Tell me more.
is in the metaverse.
Oh, wow. Okay.
We've been in for a month now. So Oculus goggles, the metaverse, blockchain. What Dr. Taborn has been doing for the past 40 years is working to make sure that we have access to all of this, just like you've been doing. I mean, that's when I read the title of your book, DeFi for the Diaspora. Why don't you tell me about the title? How did you come up with DeFi for the Diaspora? What was on your mind when you named your book?
Well, unfortunately, I mean, a lot of people don't know what DeFi is, right? So it's really the first question some people might ask is, what is DeFi? DeFi is decentralized finance. And I'm trying to create the foundation to a more equitable and sustainable global Black economy through decentralized finance. That's how I feel is the way that we can do it, because unfortunately, the legacy financial system has held us back so much, and it has created a racial wealth gap. So now we're facing this racial wealth gap. One of the only ways, in my opinion, to actually close that gap or mitigate that gap is through creating a parallel economy where we're treated equally, right? We do business with each other at arm's length. We give each other access to capital at better rates than a bank could. So those sort of things.
Would you agree that the metaverse must be built on blockchain, crypto money, and NFTs?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a yes and a no. I think what blockchain does is it creates the transparency if you're using a public blockchain, so that all the things that are operating on top of that metaverse, whether it is financial transactions through crypto, all those things can be tracked, as well as NFT ownership can also be tracked. So I think it's the better way to do it, but there are going to be closed system metaverses out there. I mean, that's what Facebook's system essentially is. I see it as a closed metaverse where everything is essentially developed by a corporation, and they have the license to do whatever they want to do inside of their metaverse. But clearly there's decentralized metaverses that are being created. Decentraland, clearly, Sandbox is another one. There's going to be many metaverses when it's all said and done.
What's going on with that stock? Was that the Meta stock? No, Facebook's Meta stock. I saw one day last week or a couple of days, it went down 26 points. Over the weekend, I spoke with my great nephew, financial guy, and just to see where it's going. And he said, buy in the middle of the week. That's what my young great nephew said, buy in the middle of the week. I was looking for a little more. We were at at an event.
Yeah, I mean, when it's all said and done, business operates in cycles. So there's going to be ups and downs. I don't know what necessarily was behind this drop. I did hear that there was a significant double-digit drop in the metaverse or Meta's stock. And, honestly, what I thought what it could be, I don't know if this is, but once again, they tried to roll out their native digital
their own currency.
That is not being well received. They're actually considering killing that whole program.
Scrapping it all together. But they've pulled together so much, and anybody that does that much work to pull together something, they're going to try to know, what do I do with it now? That's
right. Well, so there's that. And then once again, they're trying to corner the market and have the greatest market share of the metaverse, right? But people are seeing, well, hey, why wouldn't I want to be on a decentralized metaverse
We're
where I
viewing
have
here the bully. We came here to get away from the bully, right?
Yeah, well, we said that Facebook isn't a bully. We agreed to
Oh,
say that so that we don't
okay.
get booted from Facebook.
Okay. So,
We're
it's
just
not
using them as an example.
okay. Okay. So what's the way to say it?
I would just say we're just using them as an example.
Okay.
They're highly well known. They're very visible, and that's how we are going to not everyone, but a lot of people know Meta and Facebook. So, it's a good frame of reference.
Okay.
Sorry to beat up on them, but
I want people to be aware, and particularly our people, in the African American community, we're big spenders. $1.5 trillion in annual disposable income from the African American community alone. We're called super users.
I think there's some things that in what you said are up for debate. I think you're right. We are majority consumers, but that 1.5 trillion, where are those figures coming from?
These are numbers that I've watched grow over the past 10 years when they try to put a dollar amount on the 40 million on the economic value of some 40 million African Americans. And you mentioned Brazil, where there are, say, 100 million African Brazilians or Afro Brazilians.
So I'm not bringing this up to disagree with you or counter those numbers. But what I'm doing here, I'm bringing up this question. I bring it up in my book as well. Is we could have a better or a more accurate understanding of what those numbers were if we were on a blockchain. Every dollar that's being spent is on the blockchain. And you could have real-time analytics into spending, saving, borrowing, all the things that we're really doing to better assist our economic needs. That's another reason why we need decentralized finance.
You're going to make me very famous. I just said, I've always known that if I just stay beside Kamal, through osmosis, I'm going to pick up on this whole crypto. Meta wasn't even in the conversation when we first linked up, when you first established your show.
No, not at all. But so that's another thing too, that's in my book. I talk about Web 3.0 or Web 3 and where things are going, right? Where it's a convergence of all these technologies. So what's going to be happening in the next 10 years is things are going to become more automated, more mechanized, more robotics are going to be doing physical labor. And as that being the case, we need to move into more knowledge-based, knowledge worker fields where we can leverage the technology, whether it's blockchain, cryptocurrency, decentralized finance, AI, artificial intelligence, machine learning, AR, VR, augmented reality, virtual reality, cybersecurity. Those are the fields we need to be moving into now because everybody else is moving in there. And once again, if we have our own economy that can finance those areas of industry, we won't be begging people in Silicon Valley or other countries to have jobs in those fields. We can do it for ourselves.
So Kamal, before we wind down, the 10 o'clock show is coming on with William Honablu. Your show is on Friday nights, 7 o'clock East Coast time, 4 o'clock your time there in the East Bay area. But as I'm pondering this, I'm starting to look at you, Kamal, as a sort of Matthew Henson. I won't say you're the first Black man on the North Pole, considering, the metaverse and blockchain, but you've certainly been a pioneer, like Jean Desable, the founder of Chicago, an African American, as we speak about Black History Month. But you're certainly a pioneer, however famous you want to be or don't want to be. But in our world, you are a pioneer. And I want to commend you because I've come to appreciate the challenges that you face. Not everybody wants you talking about crypto. That's what you said to me.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely levels to this, and but at the end of the day, I'm just a messenger. I'm trying to get the message out to the people who need it the most. And like you said, you go up against people who don't want to hear the message. So I can't evangelize anymore. People who want it, seek me out. People who need it, seek me out. And I got to give those people the most focus. But at the same time, too, I'm going to continue to give back as much as possible. I've gotten significant pushback. Think about it. 5 years ago, when I was the evangelist type and trying to tell as many people as I possibly could about this. But, people would tell me about, unfortunately, God and the devil. People think this is the devil's money. I mean, how's it any different?
I wasn't like that. I hope I was more responsive.
Right. Well, no. I'm just saying, I mean, it's unfortunate. I went to a church to kind of give that message. So yeah, it might be a little bit, but I'm like, well, what's the difference between this and a credit card?
Breaking news: STEM City USA cryptocurrency will be available by the end of the month.
Now, all right, there you go.
I'm glad he put it up. It's called the Baya coin. The Baya coin.
Got it.
So
Baya.
Help me out. If I have an extra $100, if I have an extra $25, knowing that this is coming out, how do I position myself so that maybe in a year, in 3 years, in 5 years, I don't have to worry about my grandchildren's education?
Well, I think you're taking a very good outlook. Take a long-term outlook. Unfortunately, I mean, these becoming an overnight crypto millionaire, those things, those opportunities aren't there like they used to be. It is about, we're looking more at like a stock market sort of play when it comes to accumulating wealth now in cryptocurrency. So yes, you have to do research, you have to do your analysis, you have to look at many projects, and you have to diversify across crypto. But I think Baya, if this sounds like something good.
Well, let me just share that it's a natural progression. Baya is the Black Engineer of the Year awards.
Oh wow!
So you know about our Black Wall Street Awards. That's just 10 years. Dr. Taborn has been pushing Baya for 4 decades, closing the digital divide, providing access to communities of color, minorities, Black, brown, Latino.
I absolutely commend the doctor's work, and he's on top of things here by creating his currency that will help hundreds of thousands of people. So I'm on board. Let me know how I can help, assist, amplify, or support this message, because really we're all in this together, and I'm happy to help.
So I want you to take me back with a minute or so. When you first presented this idea of Black USA Crypto News, was I as supportive as I should have been, or was I like, oh, hell no?
No, you were absolutely 100% supportive. If anything, it was me who was like, do I want to do this? Should I do this? You said, absolutely, go out there and do this. So I got zero pushback from you. All I got was a push forward. So I appreciate the encouragement.
Well, Dr. Taborn, I want you to look him up. Dr. Tyrone Taborn, Career Communications Group, and the Baya Coin. Black Engineer of the Year awards. As a matter of fact, this month they're having their annual conference. And let me just say, he's straight. I mean, he's got roots around the country, including Black Wall Street there in Tulsa, but he's been here in Baltimore. He's mentored. When you look at the cats he's mentored, these cats are outstanding. So he's got to be, really, really about his work. Honorary PhD in engineering out of Morgan State University. I've seen him hang out with my own eyes with generals, admirals, astronauts, and the like. Also, I want to put on your radar STEM NOLA. That's a group we're working and collaborating with down in New Orleans. STEM,
New Orleans.
Yeah, STEM
Oh my
NOLA.
God. Yeah. Hey, I have family in Louisiana. I'm gonna have a stop on my book tour in New Orleans, so I would love to work with them on something. So, let's connect with those people. If you can make an introduction, that'd be amazing.
Of course I will. Kamal Hubbard, he's on Friday nights, 7 o'clock East Coast time. Thank you for taking time. I know it's early, 6 o'clock with the roosters and the chickens.
Yep. It's definitely pre-coffee here for me. So thanks for being patient with me. If I still came out a little sleepy, I apologize. But be sure to check out the show on Friday. I'll be
It's 9 o'clock East Coast time, and I'm still not awake. But I heard this show today.
All right. Thanks so much, Donnie. Have a great day, sir.
Folks, we'll be back in a minute with Black USA News with William Honeyblue. My name's Donnie Glover. Good morning, world.